Welcome to the 30-Minute Hour. It's the weekly podcast where we discuss business, sports, politics, and whatever's on our mind. I'm your host, Eric Twiggs, your procrastination prevention partner. And joining me is Ted Fells, the business strategist extraordinaire and all-around good guy.
I'm Batman.
And Batman for this week. Okay, I notice we're getting creative with these introductions. We're following Britton's lead.
That's right.
Next, we have Britton Smith. Britton is the Renaissance man. He's the man who refuses to be pigeonholed.
In the field, in the flesh.
In the field and in the flesh. Okay, really excited about our guest this week. There are many titles to describe her. She's a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur, but the label that fits her best is untraditional woman. She has dedicated her flair for style and extensive knowledge of wardrobe, styling, image consulting, and production in various areas of the entertainment industry. As a working mom and wife, she could not have imagined the price her sense of smell would have to pay while shuttling her then 6-year-old son between summer basketball camp and football practice. You smell like a grown man, is what she said. Each time the car door flew open, her son buckled in, and it was clear that her son wasn't only scoring buckets on the court, but he was also sweating buckets under his armpits. This sparked the innovative mindset and led her, she went on to come up with this product, Play Pits. It's a 100% all natural deodorant for active kids. Please join me in welcoming Chantel Powell to the 30-Minute Hour.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you all.
I'm glad you're here. And I have to tell you, we do bios and introductions all the time. That's extremely unique.
Oh, yeah. Everything, I feel like everything about me is so unique, and that's why untraditional is the only way that I could really identify. I'm truly an untraditional person.
That's untraditional. It's an untraditional introduction. And Ted, I can tell you, when someone says you smell like a grown man, there's time for you to make changes in your life.
I hope that you change the bio though when your son starts going to high school and
it's gonna be the same.
Being known as a sweaty, smelly kid.
Now he's formally known as the sweaty, smelly kid.
Now he's probably at school selling deodorant.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. He tells everyone, if someone's like, mind your business, he's like, I got a business. He's super confident because he is now 8 years old with a full-blown business. He just asked me this morning, so we did an expo yesterday. He's like, so how much money did we make yesterday? And I told him, and then he's like, so how much money have we made in total? And I'm like, all right, Cam, I see where your mind is. So no, he's gonna claim that because he knows that's how the empire is being made, off of his stinkiness.
Wow.
I started this, Mama.
Right.
That's good.
So let's talk about that, because I'm really intrigued by this creative process. So was it right after you smelled him and made this comment that you said, you know what, I need to create a product? Or what was that process like?
So, no, it didn't go anything like that. It was so I have hand eczema. So I tell the story of my hand eczema. And I developed hand eczema shortly after I had Cameron. And I learned very quickly that I couldn't put anything on my children that I couldn't touch. So when it comes to lotions, body oils, medicine, sprays, anything, if I can't touch it, they can't put it on them. So I kind of learned how to make things. On top of the fact that I believe there's a natural remedy for everything. I don't believe that, ointments and medicine is not always the way. So I took that kind of just foundation. When he came home and he smelled like a man, I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother used to put baking soda under my arms before I would play or after I would play. So I knew baking soda was great at curing odor. But then I took it a step further and I added cornstarch because that helps with sweat. So then I just threw in coconut oil, and that would kind of bind them and kind of create like this paste to kind of put under his arm. So that's really how it started. But it was really just for him. And I put in a little orange essential oil so he would like the smell, made him use it the next day, sent him on his way. He then came home and told me like, oh, Mom, so I told all of the camp, I told the kids at camp about the deodorant you made for me. You got to make it for everybody. And I looked at him and I was like, Cam, I'm just making that for you. And that's just our thing. And he was like, he looked at me with these little cute little 6-year-old eyes and he was like, but Mom, you can make it for everyone. And so for him, he's thinking all 100 kids at camp. But when he said that, this light bulb went off in my head and I was like, you know what?
We on to something.
You on to something. Yeah. And so I just did market research to kind of see like what was really out there. And nothing really, in a very cocky way, I was like, yeah, nothing's really hitting on what I believe I could do. And so I just started playing with ordering from Amazon, different ingredients. And my husband will tell you, like, we had a whole bunch of random stuff that I would just order and put together. It took me 9 months to develop and formulate Play Pits.
So you became like a little chemist.
I was a chemist. I was a whole mad scientist. And to the point where my family, people say, like, not tested on animals, and we don't test Play Pits on animals. I test all Play Pits on all of my family members. So my husband, my daughter, my parents, my best friends, everybody had to try it because I needed that feedback to document the data. Like, I need to know, did it help your sweat? Okay, no, it didn't. All right, well, I need to up the dose in this. Did you smell? Okay, well, I need to change this around. And it was real to the point where one night, I'll never forget, I got under my husband's arms at night, and I was like, you smell like Degree. And he was like, oh, I couldn't find the tester. And I went through the house and threw all the Degree, Dove, anything that was not my little sample tester. I was like, oh, if we gonna be in this, we gotta be in it. And him and his, like, everybody was looking at me like, oh, she crazy. And so I'm sure at that moment they didn't really see that it would become Play Pits and be so successful so quickly. So that's really like how it came about.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So were you always like that creative person growing up? Were you always innovative?
So it's so funny because that's how me and Ted met. So I'm a creative person just in general, but my creativity has always shown up in wardrobe, in dressing people and shopping, colors and textures, and I enjoy making people look good. So I've always been creative at that. But just all around, I think, like, when it comes to home decor, I'm creative. So I'm just a creative person all the way around. Like, my mentality is very creative. I don't like restrictions. So I don't believe in being put in a box of, who I'm supposed to be. I'm kind of one of those people I'm who I am. So I'm just a creative person. So when this came to me, I knew that the packaging had to look different than anything you've ever seen on the shelves because I appreciate something that looks good. I'm all about image. So colors make me excited. So it's just one of those things that I never knew it would pull me to this direction, but I'm happy that it finally got here.
Let me touch on that a little bit. So how we met, a friend of hers, line sister, Lindsay, Lindsay McPhail. So Lindsay had, said, hey, my friend, she's a stylist, so, maybe she could help you. I think that meant, Ted, you need some help with your dress, right? In a real nice kind of way, right? And so we had a conversation. And she came over and, she went through my closet, and I left the house for a minute, right? I came back, and all this stuff was on my bed of just, this is all gone. I'm like, what? Like you getting rid of everything I get? Like, so she let me take a couple pieces out of it, but for the most part, it was like a total, like, just disruption of my attire. And the thing that's so funny about it is, when she would select things for me, and I'd wear it. People would always be like, "Oh man, that's really nice. That's really great," right? And I'll buy something, and I get no compliments on it or anything, and so it just got to a point. Somebody, "Oh yeah, did Chantel get that for you?" So she's really good at that. And so when I heard that she was starting this, I was just like, okay, yeah, I just know that everything that she does at a certain level. So I'm very proud of her.
Yeah, Ted was really he probably thought I was crazy because I definitely went in there and was like, and then he was looking at it and he was kind of defensive, like, but no, this is my, and I was like, you should never wear this again. Like,
I had like a tear in my eye. You remember the Indian? I had like one tear in my eye, and I was just like, man.
Like, I'm sure you bought this in the 80s. Never. Yeah. We gonna let this go. Yeah. So yeah, that's how we became.
Yeah.
So
sounds
close.
like you're brutally honest. You just you have this pattern of giving honest feedback.
Well, I just feel like if you're gonna pay me to do a job, let me do it. Right. Because or else I shouldn't be here. Yeah. So yeah, I got in this closet and I did my job. Yeah. So yes, that's how we met, and that's kind of like my I'm very honest and I'm very detail oriented. And so, you know, it's funny how in life little things and little moments and experience kind of lead you down a path that sometimes you have no clue where you'll end up. Right. You couldn't have told me 3 years ago that I would be a CEO of a natural deodorant company. And to the point where even my daughter, Kiana, maybe like 4 months ago, she looked at me and she was like, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I didn't think this was going to do well. Like, and I think it's one of those things that if you don't believe it, and I don't know how I knew it would be something, right? I didn't know that so quickly people would get it. Because people are doing hair products and shea butters and, you know, it's all this natural products that people are really like diving into and it's so saturated. Right. So I was like, me and my deodorant, like, I'm going to have to convince a lot of people that this is a great product. But surprisingly, I mean, we do still to this day, we have to convince people. But it's like, once they hooked, they hooked. Yeah. You know, like once they get it, they get it. So I didn't think that I would be able to really be at this point so quickly within a year. And people look at it and they're like, hold on, so y'all only been in business for a year? And I'm like, yeah, not like we just hit a year, March 31st. So I'm grateful for that. But it's just kind of, when people say trust the process, truly like understand that every small thing in your life is like a puzzle and it kind of ends up into this one thing that is like, okay, I can really build a legacy with this. And so I truly believe Play Pits will be my family's legacy. And not just a little hobby I have, but like my Cameron will be CEO, Caden will be CF. You know, like I see that. And to the point where I tell my husband all the time, we're going to retire and travel and the kids going to run the business. Like that's what Play Pits will be. And I speak that every day of the business.
So tell me what it was like the first time you saw your product on a shelf. Like,
oh God, I cried because it took so much to make that small milestone happen. I went into stores and I would pitch it, and y'all can look at it, but so the label.
Y'all can look at it. Let me give it back.
Help yourself. But men love it, like children, families, and that I learned that really quickly. But I'll tell the story about it being on the shelf. We went into stores. Local stores, mom and pop stores, natural stores, and when I would go in and say, hi, I have this natural deodorant. But like I said, at first people didn't really get it. It's like, it's not a hair product. It's not a shea butter. What? Like, who makes deodorant, you know? And then I'm saying it's niche because I'm saying it's for children. It's for active children. And so I kind of got a lot of no's. But I didn't let that, and I would go home and kind of be defeated, and my husband would kind of like keep pushing me like, okay, we got to keep going. Who else is on the list? So the store was, the first store that said yes actually was all the way in LA. At a store called Simply Wholesome. And this store is like, it's in Inglewood, and it's like monumental to the Black community, the health food community. And somebody, my old supervisor referred that I go there. And I went in just like, hi, how are you? My name is Chantel. And the man looked at me like, girl, this is not how you do this. Like, do you have a meeting? And I just was in LA. And I was like, well, I have to go. And I don't have time to schedule a meeting. But I just went for it. They called me back a month later and said, the owner loved it. The managers loved it. I love it. We want it. Wow. And I was in the house by myself and boo-hoo cried and then called my husband and was like, oh, they want it. And I just couldn't believe that, okay, somebody actually gave me a yes. And that gave me the fire to, okay, well, let me go to the next store. So the next store was here in Silver Spring called Live and Well. They said yes. We got it on the shelves, and we did a whole photo shoot when it got on the shelf because I could not believe it. I was like, oh, my God, my product has a price under it. It has a barcode. It took a lot to get, because a barcode, anybody that's interested in products, barcodes are expensive. Real expensive. So that was a milestone that I had to get to before I could even get on the shelf. So I was really proud. It was an extremely proud moment.
So you said you got a lot of no's. Roughly, how many no's would you say you got before you got that first yes?
I don't know. Like, it was a lot. I don't know. Like, I got a lot of no's. Like, maybe last summer I did a whole like DC, like small mom and pop, everybody told me no. So probably let's say 20. And even a store that to this day, and I was telling somebody, they'll be on my no, Play Pits will never be in a store list because the owner completely played me. Like to the point where I walked away and I was like, he didn't even try. He didn't even look. He didn't even... And he said, oh, come back in a month. And I put in my calendar, go back to this store in a month. Went back on a month, and I was like, oh, so did you look? And he was like, yeah, it doesn't work for us. And I was like, not even that he tried it. I don't even think that they ever opened it up and tested it. They were just saying, like, this whole concept didn't work. And what's such a shame is Black-owned, so that was disappointing. Because one of my main things was I want to find Black-owned stores. Because one of our main missions is to educate our community and make sure that we know why you shouldn't wear antiperspirants, why you shouldn't wear Degree, why you shouldn't wear Dove, because it has aluminum and that's linked to cancer. And it's for women it's huge, but for men as well, because it has parabens and that fools with your hormones. So it's like all these reasons why you shouldn't use the traditional antiperspirants, and I want to educate our community. And this guy is right in our community, Black owned. And he said no. No name. He had a real Black name too. But I'm going to just let that be. I'm going to stay professional, okay? But yeah, but I was very disappointed. And I was disappointed, and I think my husband Keon was angry because we both were like, how dare you? You don't even know. And my thing was, my approach to him was, this would benefit your business because I have so many customers in this area that I can send people to your store and they don't even know about your store. And I didn't even know about his store but he has so many great vitamins and all natural products, but millennials my age don't know about it. Everybody that's in there are like older, and it's like, who they telling?
But I think a lot of times people are concerned with change.
Yeah.
Something new. I mean, what you've done is something that's disruptive, right? A deodorant that's, organic products, geared towards kids.
Yeah, and people like, I didn't even know kids needed deodorant.
Right. They supposed to stink.
No, they don't. Don't settle for them stinky kids,
like
guys.
That's right.
No, they don't.
I think the key is you never lost confidence in your concept.
I never lost confidence, but I definitely allowed those no's to put like this fire of this, I'm going to prove to you that you're going to wish that you would have got on sooner. Yeah. And that's just who I am. Like, you tell me I can't, I'm going to spend how many other hours I need to prove to you that I can. And that's just my drive. Like, that's just who I am.
Okay.
So I just let his little no tell me, Okay.
That just motivated you to keep pushing forward.
I got you. You're going to wish you had Playbits in your store. Because you're going to wish you got that special, first retailer. But nope.
Right.
It's all right.
It's lost.
It's lost.
So, Britton, you want to chime in?
Yeah. First of all, I want to get her to correct one thing, because she keeps referring to her son just as her son, as opposed to calling him her business partner. I didn't know he came up with the idea.
Right.
And was,
so yes,
he's chief of marketing and
Right,
everything.
exactly.
Right.
No, my whole family, they're all business partners. My husband is a business partner. My kid, down to the 4-year-old, he's a business partner. We're all owners, and they all have a job.
It's interesting that you say that. So, in some of our past guests, we've talked about friends and family in business. So, how is that working? I mean, I guess it helps a lot if it's your son. You can send him to his room if he doesn't want to act right in the business. But
yeah, it works. It's working. It's different because you don't really have in my situation, I don't have when I was young, what my mother would do if I didn't want to be a part of. So I'm like figuring things out as we go. But I think the whole idea of them being a part of it and feeling that ownership and feeling like they're seeing the growth. They're seeing me stay up late at night and pack orders. They're seeing me make the product. They're coming home from school and seeing my dedication and my husband's dedication. So it's really like my 4-year-old, yesterday we did an expo and somebody was like, he is a monster. Because promotions, he just walk up and get a flyer. It's like, you're not going to tell me no. Like, here you go. So like, we're like putting this in them that they're not even going to be able to deny it. Like, right. You ain't got no choice.
Right.
This is your business. And they feel that, I don't know if I've gotten any kickback from Cameron other than we're working on his pitch. So when it comes to talking to people,
so he can't just roll up to somebody and be like, "You gotta buy this."
But he wants to give the full story, and I'm trying to give him a script. Like, just say this. He wants to say, one day when I came home and da 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 da, and then he's a kid, so it's very like sporadic, and you're like, come on, Cam, you gotta get the sale, like be faster. So I think they're learning. They're kids. So it's just like teaching them how to clean the house. But instead of us focusing on cleaning the house, we're like, pack these orders.
Right.
Get out here and pass these flyers out. So it's just different. But they're learning.
Yeah, you've touched on this kind of already, but just really clarify for our listeners, what is it that makes Play Pits different? What separates this from the other deodorants? Why do they need this?
So what I tell people... First of all, it's a natural deodorant, and it's a lot of natural deodorants on the market. But the thing that makes Play Pits different is it's inspired by kids. So when I say inspired, it's more of an experience for the kid. Like, what kid deodorant is born, to be honest? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're trying to convince your 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old to wear this new thing that you need them to wear so you don't have to smell them, you need to make it fun. So what we did was we made a product fun. I don't like for people to refer to it as deodorant to their children. I say Play Pits. So you'll hear like a kid say, "Where's my Play Pits?" It's not, "Where's my deodorant?" Because that's born. One, it's branded by kids. So my kids had everything to do with this branding. It's effective. You'll find somebody, I had someone tell me yesterday, I've tried so many natural deodorants and they don't work. And natural deodorants has a bad rap. Like, people like, I don't want to smell like outdoors, or I don't want to smell like an onion. Like, it doesn't work. That's what people think about natural deodorants because they've tried the more popular brands that don't work. But Play Pits really works. And so whereas you have a deodorant that's inspired by kids, it works for the entire family. So you could wear it. You know, I have men that love it. Actually, Happy is the one that most of my men love. It's lavender. Very simple, very clean. But my men love Happy.
Question, is there a reason why you just handed it to me, though?
No, because you were closer.
I mean, is it
Ted.
Do I need grown man pits? I mean, because you got that sensitive nose and all.
I'm sorry. Here you go. Here you go.
Like, she looked at me like, yes, even men can wear this.
Like Ted.
Right. How about this?
Wink, wink.
You were the closest to me, so it was just not.
And I was feedback.
I was expecting you to pass it along.
But
so Play Pits is effective. Play Pits is natural. It's family owned. It's made by mom, and if you see on the label, it's for us by mom because it's made with a mother's love. I didn't go into this business with the idea, how can I throw together some ingredients to make the most money? I went into it because I had a problem that I helped my own family with, and then I want to help other families. So that's really what sets me apart. Sets Play Pits apart. It works. It's family owned. It's effective. And on top of that, it's fun. Kids love it. Adults love it.
So it says on the back of this, says Play Pits even survive Dad's 10-hour workday.
Yeah, all day long.
Cool.
All day long.
Brittany, I think you wanted to say something.
Well, I just wanted to know what was next. You know, where are you planning to branch out after this?
You want to know if there's going to be like a Play Pits foot spray or something?
Oh, listen.
Yeah, look. If it's going to be, after you leave a Play Pit, is it sandbox? What's next?
Sandbox.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. Play Pits is actually, we will expand, but when I went into this, I wanted to get anchored into deodorant. I want families to trust us. I want families to know if we put out a product, it's because we stand behind it. I didn't want to saturate my brand with a bunch of products just for you to add on at checkout just to make a lot of money. I've seen a lot of other brands have lotions and this and that and this, and it makes it a little more confusing of what is the true mission. We will expand. So I'll tell you a natural thing that just happened this Christmas. So my adults, like I said, they love it. So everyone's like, oh, but can adults wear it? Oh, can you make something for adults? So for Christmas, I did an exclusive release just for my parents of a collaboration. I collabed with another business owner named Nikki from Zen Najar, and we did an adult deodorant. And so she infused one of her most popular scents, Empress. She makes shea butter. And I created King. So we have Empress and King. And I put it in the deodorant. Changed the packaging, made it slicker, sexier. This deodorant, no lie, cannot stay on the website longer than a month. The first day when I released it, it lasts 8 days. Then we did a second release for, what was that release? We did a second release not too long ago. I doubled the amount from the last time. It lasts less than a month. So that will be coming this summer as a full-time product, the adult version, right? So we'll bring on the adult. Eventually, I want to do bath care. So I want to do bath bombs and other stuff. But right now, I'm okay with just being the deodorant lady. It's so funny. I went to this workshop and this lady was she was like, you know what? You the Beyonce of deodorant. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay with that.
The Beyonce of deodorant.
Listen, I'll be the Beyonce of deodorant. So I'm okay with not jumping into other products because I found this niche and I'm okay with it right now. Eventually I do, but I'm not rushing. I feel like we have a lot. We have a non-baking soda version coming out. I have a few other scents I want to introduce. I have the adult one. So as far as deodorant, we're going to ride with deodorant for a little while before I introduce another product because I want to make sure that product is as effective and can kind of stand up with the baby of the company, which is doing so well and growing. Yeah, so that's what we're doing with that.
So, anybody that's in a business will you're starting with nothing and creating something. And there's just these ideas all around us. What advice would you have for that person that's listening, that's looking to be more creative and looking to create something, but they just haven't done it yet?
I would say start with writing everything down. Write it. Like any thought. I literally have pages of things, and I've had a lot of different ideas, and I've thought about doing, I've had another business, so I did the styling thing, but within that styling thing came another business. And so I've always known I was supposed to be an entrepreneur, because honestly I don't like authority. So I'm just one of those people.
Shocking.
I'm just one of those people that just, I want to move the way I want to move, right? So, but I would definitely recommend writing stuff down and then getting back to those items and kind of seeing how you can flush those ideas out and kind of allowing whatever makes you the most excited be the thing that you start running towards. That's my advice.
It's interesting whenever you look on shelves and you see stuff and you just pick it up, right? You don't ever think of what it took for someone to come up with that concept and then to get it out on the shelf. And then I guess, for a lot of people, listeners will probably think, how do you do that? Like, and I'm sure, you had to do some research around it to find out how. And it sounds like there was a lot of footwork that went to that, going from store to store.
A lot of.
And I guess starting with, some kind of not really chains, but stores that kind of, I guess like mom and pop
like
type
small
stores.
Mom and pop stores. My strategy with the smaller stores is I wanted to first kind of get my foot in to figure out what my process and procedures would be with handling accounts. So I didn't want to jump into like the approaching the Whole Foods and the bigger stores before I learned, okay, so how should I do my invoicing? Should I do a net 15 or a net 30? What should my case size look like? Should I have 9 to a case, 12 to a case? So I figured that out with these smaller stores because, one, they're more forgiving. You can kind of make mistakes and kind of figure out, okay, well, this should be shipped in this type of box, or, oh, I need to change my label. Like I said, the barcode was a whole thing I learned about from approaching smaller stores. Some stores didn't need it, but then I approached one that's like, yeah, no, you have to have it for this. So you just learn things along the way. And I'm a researcher. My friends call me the Google Queen. It's nothing you could tell me or give me and I can't figure out. Like, I'm going to Google it and research it until I can then tell you that I'm an expert at it. And so I think now with social media, people glorify entrepreneurship and make it seem so easy and so simple. And I think it's kind of like it's a false idea because it's not simple. It's not easy. It's a lot of dedication, a lot of time, and you just really have to be so committed that you're okay with staying up late at night when everyone's sleeping until 2 o'clock in the morning to figure out how do you do this, because it's a lot of learning curves. I did everything. I've built my own website. I literally at church one day, my logo came to me. And then I had to call a graphic designer and send her the picture and was like, okay, I want it to look like this, but how do we execute this vision that's in my head? So it takes a lot of time and a lot of work.
So it came to you in church.
It came, listen, he dropped it
right
on
one
me.
of two ways, right?
Yeah.
It could have been like, you heard something, you was inspired, the Lord put that in your mind, or you wasn't paying attention to what they was talking about.
I wasn't.
And you was jotting.
I was paying attention to his whisper.
You was paying attention.
He was talking to me. The pastor was talking about something else that didn't apply to me at that moment. And God said, but listen, my child, I'm speaking.
All right.
Jot this down.
Brittany, I know you got something to say, Brittany.
Britt?
I'm looking for an organ.
Oh, listen, go ahead, let's play it. It's Sunday.
There you go. That's all right.
I just believe we all have these types of ideas that come to us, but you take it for granted. Yeah, like you said, that's why I think it's good to write it down.
Yeah, I call them God whispers.
Yeah.
It's the little things that God kind of whispers to you to kind of help you get along, like go along in life. But sometimes we just pay them no attention. And we just be like, oh, no, I want to do, like if I was listening to the sermon, I would have missed his word. And I didn't want to do that. So I said, I hear you. And I just...
We gonna have your preacher on next.
Right. Look, the organist just got up and walked out on that one.
Right.
I'm out of here.
But yeah, honestly, that's how things happen for me.
Yeah.
It's like it's the little things, like the colors that came to me, and that's part of my creative process. I'm just I have to be in a very like open place, right? Like I can't be busy. I can't be. It's almost like I have to isolate myself when I'm in this phase of receiving these things. So I can't be in a process where I'm like going out every night, or like I have to be in a very like isolated environment in order for me to allow these things to drop to me. So and that's honestly how it happens.
And I talk, and in my work, there are a lot of people that they see something on TV or they see something like your product on the shelf, and they say, you know what, I had that idea.
Yeah.
So I tell you, everybody has the similar opportunity, but the difference is that you actually took action.
Yeah.
And you took the next steps.
It's a book called Big Magic. I think it's written by Elizabeth. I forget who's the author, but she talks about that. Like she treats creativity like almost like a spirit. And how it kind of flows. And if you ignore an idea or your creativity, it will pass along to the next person. And that's kind of like, because it kind of feels like, pay me attention. Like, it'll keep bugging you. You'll see things and be like, dang, it keeps reminding me of the same thing. And if I just pay it no attention, okay, you don't want to pay me attention? I'm going to go to the next person. And then that next person is the person who executes. And so she talks about that in that book. And I read that shortly before before Playpiss kind of came to me. But I really felt that is true, because you do see so many people like, oh my God, I thought of that, but I never did it, because you were so busy in life that you just never took the time to commit.
Right.
So school, you went to Clark, right?
Clark Atlanta. Yeah.
How did your studies, degree, did any of that tie to what you're doing? Like, what did you major in?
So I was a fashion merchandising major. Okay. So once again, it kind of goes back into image and knowing what looks good, what's appealing. So you'll see, like, and that's kind of, so I would say my fashion merchandising degree kind of went hand in hand with me branding. Okay. So like my logo and my colors and all that stuff kind of goes into like my career as far as a stylist. Like, I know textures make a difference. So if you see like nothing is flat, it all has texture. It's the strokes in the brush. So everything is like colorful and textured, but that's part of that side of me.
Why do I feel like this is when you were putting these outfits together for me?
Yeah, it's
kind of the same. Yes. Now, what I will say though is she didn't try to put me in those skinny jeans or anything like that.
My husband would, Keon would disagree, because he says I try to put him in skinny jeans all the time.
Don't do it.
No, he doesn't do it. And
be strong.
He doesn't have a stylist either, because I've retired.
You retired. All right.
So have you received any other type of coaching or education to really help you to get to this point?
So I will say, I was working in production 2 years after I had Cameron. I moved back here to Maryland. While I was here, I worked at BET. While I was at BET, I worked for the VP of Programming and Brand Advancement for the international channel. Okay. So there I learned a lot about branding. Like, I learned a lot about logos and, what looks good, and animation and like all of those type of things. And I would say that even though when I was in that moment, I didn't understand it. And once again, those puzzles, I did not understand why I was at BT working this office job every day that was so not me. Like, I was used to shopping and being out and about, and now I'm sitting at this computer answering the phone, and I'm like, how did I get here? But now that I'm here, I credit that experience of branding to helping me be able to use social media. We did social media. We did logos for different interstitials with the channel. We did, I did all of that. And now I was able to use that knowledge to put into Playpiss. So once again, it's kind of, while you're in the process, you don't even know what is to come. But you just have to kind of get in there and learn all that you can learn and be the best while you're in that moment. Because I went to that job, never worked an administrative job in my life. And what did I do? I got on Google, YouTube, learned how to use Outlook. I had never used Outlook, and I was an executive assistant for this lady. Never knew how to use a calendar, but I used Google and YouTube to teach me. And I was able to get in there. Probably 6 months later, they thought I was the best thing that ever happened. And I was calling Keon every day, like, Keon, they really like me. Like, I don't think they know. Like, they're really paying me like every week to do this job that I've never, and I couldn't believe it. But I wanted to be the best. Everything I do, I'm like, I have to figure out the way to be the best. And so, yeah, I worked for them for 4 years. So.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, she's like this all the time. Like, I've never seen her not like this. I mean, she used to come over. I told you when she had that big stack of clothes in my room that she was ready to get rid of. She was the same way. When she came in with all these clothes, with all these labels on, trying all this stuff. I'm sitting there looking at this stuff. I'm like, look at me. I'm big boned. Like, how you gonna put me in something like that? But and I'd be like, okay, I like this, and this, but not that. Okay, she go back, come back. I mean, but always like this. So the energy level. And she's gonna be successful in whatever she does. I'm proud of her. I smile. I told you when I looked on social media and I saw her on there, I was just like, man, my little sister, look at her doing her thing.
Thank you.
Give me something. Yeah, she's doing it.
Yeah, I try.
Yeah,
I try.
Good stuff.
So how can our listeners get a hold of Play Pits or get in contact with you to get more information?
Yeah, so you can visit www.playpits.com to purchase. You can also follow us to keep up with our pop-up shops locally in the Maryland, DMV area or other states with our social media. So it's at Play Pits on Facebook and Instagram. And then you can always send us an email at customerservice@playpits.com.
Customerservice@playpits.com.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on our show. And we do a segment where we go around the horn and share something with our listeners. So what is that final thought that you would want to leave our listeners with to remember you by?
My final thought would be, don't get, basically not to get stuck with feeling like you have to be perfect. And if you have an idea and you could just start moving forward on that, just go. Don't wait for perfect, because it's never going to come.
That's
yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And that's in my work. I'm always saying that similar thing about don't allow perfect to become the enemy of progress. You just have to move forward.
It'll attack you. And I'm a perfectionist. I'm recovered from that because I like to be
perfectionist.
I like to be perfect, but life has taught me. I've kept living to learn that you'll never hit perfect.
Yes.
You'll never have enough money. You'll never have the perfect atmosphere, the perfect people around you. You just gotta move.
You have to start.
Push, go.
That's I guess a more straightforward way of saying the whole kind of be against that paralysis by analysis phrase. You analyze. I got to make sure I get all of this. I got to look at every deodorant out there. I got to
do more research.
Research.
Yeah.
And then somebody that came out
And did it. And I was like, damn.
Right. So no, that's definitely good information for the listeners.
Great. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem. Thank you.
So, Britton?
So first of all, I do have to make sure that she stop giving all the secrets away, the millennial secrets away. Millennials be like, wow, they're so impressive. We just Google.
Right. Listen, Google. I have a degree. I can have a degree in anything with Google. PhD maybe.
It just seems like life is so much easier for millennials, though.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to go to the library or anything. You're just like, just Google.
No, you just got to catch up.
There's a YouTube of somebody. That's something that's interesting to me. Not to digress, but YouTube. There's always someone on YouTube doing something.
Yeah.
Am I I feel like I just need to go on YouTube and do something. Just show. I don't know how to put on something.
Yeah.
Maybe how to put on Play Pits deodorant. If I go in there, I could do that and video.
You can upload it to the Play Pits page.
That's
too,
it.
Because we have a YouTube
and show the proper way of doing it. But there's always someone.
But
doing something.
I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I was getting frustrated because I was asking him some questions. He's like, I don't know. And I'm thinking, this is 2019. There's no such thing as
you
yes
don't
or no.
know. Right.
You can Google and get an answer.
That is so true. And because I'm like that, like as I build my team, that is like, you cannot come to me with a I don't know. Like, that's not an option. Like, no is not an option. There's so many resources out here that, like Google and YouTube, don't come to me and tell me, oh, you don't know how to use this program. You better Google it.
That's right.
Right. I mean, there's so much information out there. So, Britton, what else were you saying?
So, I was actually going to talk about something else, but that did trigger something that, you know, it's funny we tie into this whole thing of, you know, growing up, we always heard, you know, people telling kids, man, you smell like outside.
Yeah.
You know? And the funny thing now is, you know, a lot less kids are playing outside.
Yeah. Right.
And, you know, as a matter of fact, a lot less kids are even playing inside.
Yeah.
So I walked past my little cousins, and they were watching a YouTube video of some other kids playing Fortnite. While they have Fortnite. They have the game. But they were watching another kid play the game.
Play the game.
That's funny.
So, you know, I just thought that was funny as we tie that in today. Just about the notion that you have a whole generation of people that's continuing to change the way we do things, change the way we approach things, but coming up with products that are specified for different individuals, different people across generational spectrums. It's very necessary, very important, very key. So that's why I was excited to hear about the product, and I really want to know what's next. But I definitely know it's coming soon. I know you have to get your foothold into this game, but listen to your other business partner through you. I'm pretty sure he's already cooking up something right now. You know, teachers are telling him, all right, you have to study your homework. Not now, I'm on a business call.
Yeah.
Britton, the foot spray will be out at some point. I know that's what you want to know. You know,
listen, let me know if you're interested, because you can be a tester. I'm always looking for people to volunteer to try new products. So if you need a foot spray, I got you.
I'll make a nice YouTube video about it.
Perfect. So other people can learn how to apply it.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That could be a Britton. We could be out playing basketball, and then we just run up with the basketball sweat and go, whoo, play pits. This is what I need.
That's funny. We just did so one thing you'll see with my brand, I do a lot, because my background is production. I truly I truly love to create videos and commercials. So we just did a video where we had my son play. It was for Valentine's Day, where he was playing basketball with some friends. These girls walk in. He go try to talk to the girl, but he smells. So she plays him. Right. So she's like, yeah, not interested. All the friends laugh at him. Mm-hmm. He comes back. He goes sits on the bench. His father hands him play pits. So the next day, he walks in the gym, got all this swag because he's smelling good. Yeah. And so he then goes approach one of her friends. Mm-hmm. The girl agrees to play with him. So they play basketball while the other girl is like pouting and stomping and everything. Y'all got to see the video. But it's really cute. Yeah. But that's like, we do a lot of commercials because I really like visuals. And I think with kids, you can have so much fun.
Right.
So no, we love to create moments. So let us know if you want to play basketball, because y'all can promote our men's deodorant.
Again, she kind of just looked at me. When she's like, you can promote, our men's deodorant, especially you.
Right.
You said you can promote it.
Because you're closer. She said it was because you're closer to her.
Exactly.
But also,
right. I'm feeling some kind of way.
No, Ted, you're actually just closer to her nose.
Right.
Exactly.
So I just looking at this, and Eric and I was talking about this earlier about coming up with concepts and everything that's, that it's all about being disruptive today, right? Like we talked about, like Uber, right? It's like you look at because I think what we're trying to do, these business ideas that really take off are those that are kind of help to solve a problem, or, a challenge, right?
Yeah.
you know, someone, you know, you said, hey, I'm smelling
right.
my son, so I need to come up with something, and you went right into the lab and started working on that. And there's so many problems and challenges that we deal with every day that, you know, I know that this, you know, some of our listeners are going to be inspired. You know, you'll see a whole bunch of other products that are coming out there, and that you've said, hey, you know, just start moving forward. You know, just move. I think that was, you know, that was definitely, you know, something that I'm gonna take to notice. I'm gonna go back and see what I can figure out. Maybe Britton, you and I could work on the foot spray.
That's a great idea.
But put it in a real sleek kind of a can.
Yeah, listen, Brandon is amazing. Like, you'll learn that Brandon is like,
when your foot's a little stinky and a little itchy, we got this. You know, we'll come up with some name for it.
Yep.
But thank you.
And I'll be a customer.
There we go. Thank you.
But I maybe also be competition.
Look, let me tell you one thing I don't want to do is compete with you. Because I know that one person in that one store, I mean, I guess he just knows that you are coming for him.
He don't even know. Yeah. He ain't gonna know until it hit him. And he walk in Target somewhere and be like, yo, this is the same right. one. And I'll be like, yeah, remember me?
You won't even let any of his family members buy it.
Nope, not
anybody
interested.
Right, don't
that's a lie.
None of this.
No, that's not true.
I have a little print on here. This is not made for.
Not for him.
For him, right?
Yeah. So, you really inspired me in this whole concept of trusting the process.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our listeners, and even myself, I found myself in places like, what am I doing here? Mm-hmm. And then get later down the road, I'm like, wow, that experience was so valuable.
Yeah.
Now, I think the key takeaway is that you have to really focus on what's in front of you.
Yeah.
So I just believe everything's teaching you something.
Yeah.
Right? And we want to discount. So let's say if you're working a job, you say, you know what? I want to start my own business. So this job, later for this, I think you still have to pay attention to what's going on in your job.
And be the best.
And be the best. Right. Right. And there's always lessons. And I think as far as being creative, it's about having that antenna up. What are the frustrations? You know, what are the problems? And just like you said, write them down. Take notes. You know, trust the process. Keep your antenna up. Pay attention to the frustrations and problems. And you can avoid smelling like a grown man.
Right.
I want to smell like a grown man.
You'll be good to go.
You know, one thing I also want to thank you for doing is kind of breaking up. There's been like a pattern, Britton. I'm sure that you can jump in on this. On the past couple shows we've had, there's always been someone from Hampton University or someone that's a member of Omega Psi Phi.
Oh, well, no.
It's happened, Britton. I mean,
arguably the greatest fraternity in the world, but that's a whole other episode.
Britton, haven't you noticed that there's been kind of a pattern recently?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely been steered in that direction.
Well, no, I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I went to Clark Atlanta University.
All right.
So I'm happy to break it up for you guys.
That's right.
Yeah, when I heard you, I said, oh yeah, she's not one of the Qs.
That's right.
That's funny.
All right. Well, this has been a great episode. We're thankful for Chantel Powell for being on our show. And give everyone again your website, how they can get a hold of Play Pits.
Website is www.playpits.com. Feel free to use your promo code PlayPits10 for 10% off. And then you can also follow us on all social media networks at Playpits.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
This has been another week of the 30-minute hour. Until next week, have a great one.